What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are going to talk about Bitcoin today. The purpose of this video is to do a long-term, in-depth analysis to determine where the price might go by the end of this cycle and potentially when that might also top off, when Bitcoin may top off. So if that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe. Let's get into it, all right? It is the 14th day of June right now as we speak. $104.8 thousand is the price, getting just below 500K here. We're not going to do the short-term stuff. We're going to do the long-term stuff. And I want to make a case for why I think Bitcoin's going to $500,000 either by the end of this year or sometime in 2026. Yes, I said it, sometime in 2026. We're at the point now, the market is developed enough where I feel confident enough to say, yes, we could. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people coming out of the woodwork saying the same stuff, right, that we really could continue into 2026. And there's some reasoning behind that, right? This isn't just bullish hopium. There's actually some defining factors that can help illuminate that picture, but we're going to go over that in a second, okay? Looking at this here, from a all-time high, I think the best way to do long-term analysis, to project where we're going to go in the future, is to see where we've gone in the past, right? Taking an all-time high from this first bull cycle to the low of the bear cycle, the very first bear cycle, that little pullback there, high to low, you can see that the next bull market went all the way up to the 2272. And in fact, we went just above the 2272 right there, right? Just right there. We take the next cycle high to low, and we go here, high to low. You can see that we did the exact same thing, high to low, all the way up just above the 2272. That's where we stopped, okay? We do this again. We take a high to low. This time we did not hit the 2272. This time, Bitcoin, you actually stopped. Whoop, you stopped right at your 1618 golden ratio right there. And I have a couple of reasons why I believe we did this, right? If you notice, first, I don't know why I zoomed in, just to zoom back out. But if you notice, the first cycle that Bitcoin had was a blow-off top cycle. The second cycle Bitcoin had was a blow-off top cycle. The third cycle Bitcoin had was parabolic blow-off top cycle, right? Fourth cycle, last cycle, we were getting there. We were getting there, right? But we had a double top. We had a double top here, right? We've never seen a double top in Bitcoin's history up until that point and since that point, right? At least not yet. We'll see. I doubt we're doing a double top here. But that might explain why we stopped at the 1618. Now, Bitcoin does show respect at its 1618 every single cycle, whether it's as support or as resistance. But here we had a double top there. That might be something that's important to think about and consider going forward with this cycle as well. There are a few reasons why I think we had a double top right here, why this cycle was so weak. There are so many things that were going on. We had the DXY, which if you guys are aware of what the DXY is, it's the US dollar currency index. The DXY has been in an uptrend. A lot of people say the dollar is going to zero. By the way, totally different subject here, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but if you ever have fears or doubts that the US dollar is going to be a currency that's here to last, or it's going to zero, and the dollar's weakening, it's no longer the world reserve currency, just look at this chart, right? We're in a clear uptrend, higher lows, higher highs. We're in like a multi-decade uptrend almost, man. 2008, that was the low of the US dollar. We've been in a solid uptrend ever since. There are booms and busts, and that's actually what I want to talk about here real quick. If we look at this, you can see here from the low you had a rapid expansion. Then you consolidated for a while, right? I think it's obvious. Here you expanded. Then you consolidated for a while, right? Here you expanded. And now what are we doing? We're consolidating for a while, probably. How long did each of these consolidation phases last? Well, if we take right here, let's just say we expanded right up to this point, we go to where we started to expand right here. That was about 68 months. 68 months. We take our growth here. I'm not going to go to the high because I think at this point, I think it's obvious we were consolidating. This was the move. We started consolidating. Even though, yes, we went higher here in the DXY's valuation, we were consolidating. And then here the expansion phase, the next expansion phase started. That was the beginning. I'm not taking the low. I'm just taking the beginning. 68 months, 75 months. It's a good bit of distance in between both of them, but that's still pretty close in the grand, like 68, 75, those are pretty close together, you know what I mean? 7 months apart, but still pretty close together. You take this one here, the end of this last consolidation phase or expansion phase, and you can see we're only at about 33 months right now in this consolidation phase. Now, I don't know how long this consolidation phase is going to last, but what I'm pretty confident in is that we're not going to see any expansion anytime soon. However, this last expansion happened at a point in time that we've never seen it happen for Bitcoin right here, right? If we take this, We'll do new price scale. I'll lay it over with Bitcoin here. Log it, right? Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in a little bit, yeah. If we're looking at this here, this expansion phase happened right here for the dollar, right? It happened between here and here. And if you look at Bitcoin's price, we were in a bear market. The DXY bottomed out. It started to expand, and that's when the bear market was in full effect. When the DXY stopped expanding, Bitcoin was at its low. Can you see that? Does it make sense? Are you looking at the chart? Can you see it? Let me see. Let me see if I can move this up a little bit. Right? You see? DXY stops expanding, starts to consolidate. Bitcoin's at the end of its bear market. Right? We have another bull market here, and that's during the DXY's consolidation. There's no expansion. In fact, the best part of the bull market happened while the DXY was decaying, okay? Which we're in the middle of a decaying process right now, actually. Last cycle, the DXY started to expand right here in the midst of this double top zone. We had a cycle here. DXY was consolidating. It was not expanding. It was consolidating, and this bull cycle was up. This bull cycle was up. Here, when the DXY was expanding, we were in the bear market. Started to consolidate. We had a bull market here. We had a bull market here, but it was cut short, I believe, because the DXY started to expand. It's no coincidence that right whenever this happened, that was at the same time that we topped off in the bear market or in the bull market there. Okay, here we are, decaying now. I think Bitcoin is on the precipice of seeing its immaculate end of cycle rally. I'm actually a little bit surprised that we haven't gotten underway with this much decay in the DXY, but that's okay. Sometimes weird things happen. There's other reasons for maybe why Bitcoin's below or not growing at its unprecedented rate yet, right? We're waiting for a global money supply to really take off. We're waiting for maybe the big, beautiful bill to kick in, where $5 trillion will be added to the deficit, and maybe some of that money will get injected into the crypto markets. Interest rates will come down, money printer goes on, quantitative easing, all this stuff, and all that. And just I'm on this chart to explain that I don't think that we're going to see an expansion to hurt this cycle, right? I do believe that we have more cycle to go, and I feel safe, at least in this context, saying that, right? But last cycle, explaining why it was so weak, that's what I'm trying to do. DXY was expanding. What else was going on during the last cycle? Am I on the right one, by the way? Let me see. What else is going on the last cycle that might have resulted in us having a double top here for the first and only time in Bitcoin's history? What? Come here, Rafiki. It's my cat. He's just being a little goofball. I don't know why. Maybe he wants some wet food. He already had wet food, though. Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is. I need to go open up the door. Anyways. We topped off here because not just the DXY was expanding. We're post-COVID era, right? Post-COVID era. New administration, potentially, new administration change. I mean, we topped off. This is before the new administration came in, but November was the month. What was it? 2021? Would it have been 2021? No, it would have been January that he would, right? When? Why can't I? It would have been 2021 January, right? When did Biden's inauguration? When did Biden inaugurated? No, yeah. When did Biden inaugurated? Okay, January. Okay. So maybe he wasn't fresh inaugurated, right? Or he wasn't like freshly inaugurated here or freshly elected. That's what I'm trying to say. He was inaugurated back here. We still grew. But sometimes a new administration, whether you like or don't like Biden, I'm not trying to touch on that, right? I personally don't like Biden. I don't like the people that were his keepers personally, but I'm not trying to touch on that. That's not the point, right? I'm not trying to say he's the reason why the price went down. We're at the end of our bull cycle, and beyond a new administration, we had high rates of inflation, the highest rates of inflation we ever had. It was post-COVID times, right? Maybe not the highest rates of inflation we've ever had, but that I've seen in a very long time. Quantitative tightening was going on. Interest rates were going up. Ukraine and Russia were in conflict shortly after this high, right? And somebody likes to point that out because I'll always say Ukraine, Russia. I always throw that in as a reason why we might have topped off as well because that was a new conflict. He's like, this started in February. This was in November. Well, the thing is, man, if you know how the world works, people are aware of what's going to happen. Big shit like that is on the docket before the public's made aware of it, right? I'm sure that Russia and Ukraine didn't just go to war overnight. Tensions were probably rising over time, but whether that's part of it or not, there's all this negative implied economic stuff besides that was going on here at this time that I think it prevented us from going, right? It really did prevent us from going. Post-COVID especially, man. Post-COVID, high inflation really hurt things. I think made people scared of the markets. Okay, we don't have any of that now. We don't have any of that now, right? I know that people are scared about Iran and Israel, Israel and Palestine and all that, and the Houthis. But to be fair, and again, not to be insensitive, I don't think this is anything new. Iran and Israel have been in conflict with each other on again and off again since before I was born. This isn't anything new. Yes, Iran put their red flag up, but like whatever, I don't think it's anything new. It just reminds me of people. It's like a dick measuring contest. That's what's happening right now, and unfortunately, people's lives are on the line because of it. And I know, at a fundamental basis, it's not just that, right? That people are fighting because of what they believe is like right in their mind or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's just a dick measuring contest. The dust is going to settle. They're going to have a ceasefire. Iran's probably going to have enough of the retaliation of Israel. I don't think that World War III is going to start, or if it has started, it might have already started right back in like the Cold War, and it's just a quiet war that's not had with soldiers on the ground, but it's done through financial and economic means instead. That I could see. But the idea that we're going to go through some kind of nuclear holocaust or nuclear World War III, I think that's just a fear-mongering tactic that the media uses to get attention. They make more money the more views they get, the more engagement they get, the more they get paid, the more money they make, and the more that they're able to program you. Fear is a very strong thing, and I think people are fearful right now. But other than that, which we had back here, by the way, other than that one thing, quantitative easing is coming in. Interest rates are on the down and down, right? We're at least not hiking interest rates. Inflation is at like low levels that we haven't seen in a very long time. The trade wars are calming down. China and the U.S. are making deals. There's a lot of good things going on right now. The stage is set. Global M2 money supply is about to start ripping, right? Like we've the big beautiful bill, which as much as people would hate that, and as much as that might be bad for America as a whole, it'd be really good for crypto. It's only bad for Americans if they're not invested in Bitcoin or crypto, man. We got a whole lot of good stuff going on. So I don't think that we're done here, okay? All that to say. Again, remember what got me on this conversation was we were measuring from high to low where these bull market tops were. And I'm just explaining why I think we stopped at the 1618 last cycle. And then I compared it to this cycle and how it's largely different. All the macroeconomic stuff is literally 180 degrees opposite. Where we pulled a 180, man, and the stage is set to see a completely different outcome than what we saw back here. We're not even above our 1272 right now, right? And again, I was explaining why this is different here than what we were back at here, because I don't think we're going to stop at the 1618. I think this cycle we will go up to our 2272. I think that we will stop just above there. And as we have historically stopped just above the 2272, what would make the most sense as far as price goes? If we're at 462K, what's above that psychologically that might be a good area to find resistance? $500,000, $500,000. That to me makes a lot of sense, and that's been the perceived outcome since like the end of 2022 or the beginning of 2023, right? That's been what I've thought's going to happen, is that we would go up to 500K. This is a multi-year price prediction in the making. Now the time frame has changed a little bit recently for me. I mean, not completely. I still am holding to October being the time frame, October, November, maybe September, that we're up at this area. But if we do this thing where when we move up again, we consolidate again, and going into the end of the year, we consolidate for 5 months or 6 months like we have throughout the cycle, then maybe we do bleed into 2026. Maybe the cycle does extend. And I have resiliently held off on saying that because every cycle people are like, it's going to last longer, and that always gets you in trouble, and it's never different. But the thing is, this cycle really is different, you guys. It really is. And the way that the stage is set right now, I have a hard time seeing this cycle end. I don't have a hard time. I'm having a harder time now than I have throughout this whole cycle seeing it end in the end of this year. It's very possible that we could extend it to 2026, which means that it means a couple of things, right? On the positive note, the price targets that we've long awaited for will happen inevitably. On a negative note, it's not going to happen as fast. It's not as immediately gratifying as a lot of these cycles are. Even the last cycle there was some immediate gratification there. Look at the difference, right? Look at the difference of this cycle compared to the other ones. Here, did you have anything that was longer than like a 2 or 3 month consolidation phase? I mean, here in the beginning, sure, yeah, you had like one consolidation phase that was long, but then besides that, you had what, like two and a half months of consolidation, and then you moved up basically in a straight line. Here you had a consolidation phase again. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and then on the 6th month you moved up, right? Here you consolidated 1, 2, 3 months, and then on the 4th month you were moving up, right? So like 3 months or less typically is the consolidation. Here you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and you consolidated, right? Beginning of the cycle you consolidated, end of the cycle you consolidated, then you ran up. Here you didn't really consolidate for too much time at all. You actually were just moving constantly straight up in a straight line. Here we had a very long consolidation phase, but this was that COVID time, right? We had the COVID crash. I think this was in response to this massive uptick that we had in the beginning of the cycle. Typically, Bitcoin doesn't have that massive uptick, right? You have a little uptick, and then you consolidate, and then you move up, form a structural base. Same thing here. You moved up a little bit, moved sideways for like 5 months, and then you started to move up. Here you just ripped through the roof, and then you had the repercussions because of that, and then COVID and all this economic stuff happened. But whenever we started moving up, when we're at the end of our cycle, we didn't consolidate for months at a time. We just moved up exponentially, right? We're not doing that now. We've never had a cycle with this many long-term consolidation phases, right? We've never had a cycle where we've consolidated for this long. Here we consolidated for 6 months, half a year, and then on the 7th month we moved up. Here we consolidated for I don't know how many months, 6 months, and then on the 7th month we moved up. On the 8th month that's when we broke out, but on the 7th month we broke out, right? Here we consolidated for basically 5 months, and then on the 6th month we moved up, right? We've never seen this much constructive behavior, constructive consolidation, and for this long either, right? It's typically like 3 months or less that we consolidate for in a bull market. You get one phase of consolidation that's larger than that, typically in each bull market, and maybe two in that 2015 cycle. I'm sorry, 2013 cycle. 2015 was the bear market low. But still, we've never seen it happen this much, right? And if we continue to do this, if we move up to that 1618 target around 180, 170K, and we are to consolidate for another like 5 to 6 months, while from a time perspective, a cyclicality perspective, it might make sense to go down, the price being this constructive, we've got quantitative easing, we've got all these bullish macroeconomic things going on. And then on top of that, you have Bitcoin being incorporated as a strategic global crypto reserve across all these countries, let alone the United States, the biggest holder of Bitcoin, let alone all these companies which are also incorporating Bitcoin reserves in their own like plans, right? As a part of their like company's balance sheet. All this bullish stuff that we've just never had before. I think it's safer to say now that it's been any cycle, and we've said it every single cycle. This cycle might be different. It really might be different, man. I still think we'll get a bear market, but I think a lot of us are anticipating this bear market, this next bear market will be tame. And bear markets do get more tame as time goes on, right? I think last cycle was held down. Last cycle was held down tremendously by all these different things. All those things, not only are they non-existent, now we have it to the opposite effect. If it held us back last cycle, what's it going to do this cycle? If it's the opposite effect, it's going to push us up, right? We have the opposite effect of all these negative things. Again, I'll just say it real quick. Quantitative easing is coming back, not quantitative tightening. Interest rates are looking to come down, not going up. Inflation is at low prices, right? Or is at low readings, right? Inflation is at low readings. The economy is starting to bottom out and recover, I think. I think we're in the beginning of a recovery phase for the economy. People are saying we're going to go into a recession. I think we were in a recession from 2021 until like basically the beginning of this year, really. 2021 to 2023 was the brunt of that, right? But basically we've been in a recession. We've been in it. I think we're at the base of it now. You've got all these very wealthy people who are saying a recession's coming, but I think that, and no offense to them, but I think that when you're at a certain level of wealth, you lose touch with reality. If you are in the working class, and I was still working for a good bit of this part, right? And I don't work a 9 to 5 now. I just do this for a living, but I was a part of the working class too. If you're a part of the working class, you're the average person in the world, or in America at least, you know that we went through a recession, man. Like times were tough over the past like 4 years. They really were, and that's not a slight at Biden. Like that's the, I'm not trying to get about that. I've already let you guys know my opinion on that. If you want to go there, but I'm not trying to go there. It's not what I'm saying. The economy sucked. Things were terrible. Things were genuinely terrible economically speaking, and interest rates going up didn't help, right? We have the opposite effect of all that stuff going on now. Things are looking to be easing. Money printing, money supply is easing, and it's going up, and we're being constructive. The DXY is not going to get in our way. It's consolidating. How long is it going to consolidate for? I don't know, but 68 months here, 75 months here. We're on our 33rd month. I doubt we start expanding anytime soon. I doubt it, right? Have we had bull markets where the DXY moves up? Yes, we have. It can move up, but that's different than expanding. It can move up from here, sure. It can move up, and we're still in a bull market. We've seen that happen several times. Just because the DXY moves up doesn't mean we're not in a bull market, but as long as it's not expanding, right? And all I can say is that it's definitely not going to expand here. I don't know when, but less than half the time of either of these moves, I doubt it. No, I very much doubt it. No. Trump wants to weaken the dollar. The last time Trump was in office, right, was it 2017, January? 2017, January. He said he wanted a weaker dollar. Guess what? That's 2017, January right there. Look at what happened, right? 2021, or sorry, 2025, January, look at what happened, right? He wants a weaker dollar. He's going to get a weaker dollar. Like, it's not going to expand during his candidacy. So I'm just saying, or I shouldn't say candidacy, his administration. He's not a candidate anymore. He is the president. I used the wrong word there. But all this to say, I think that we've got a lot of room to run. And again, where are the most likely areas to stop? In this very constructive environment that Bitcoin has, probably arguably the most constructive bull cycle that we've ever seen. Is it the fastest? Is it the most exciting? No. But that's constructive. You want people to get bored. You want people to get shaken out and get distracted and make the wrong decisions. That's what keeps things going. When people are euphoric and everybody's in the green, that's what creates these massive selling events. That's what creates people FOMOing the top and adding to the selling pressure, panic selling on the way down, right? This is constructive. You're giving people who know what they're doing, or even people who don't know what they're doing, you're giving them enough time to make the right decisions, get in at decent prices, and accumulate before it continues to go up higher, right? Not only that, not just people, you've got institutions buying like hell, like never before. And then we're just more constructive than we've ever gone before. Do you think that we're going to stop at the golden ratio here? I think we do. I think we stop here, but I don't think that's where the bull market ends. I think we'll stop there. Hey, come here. Come here, Fiki. Rafiki, man. He's definitely a chatty monkey. Okay. Beyond all that stuff, let me talk about something that's more in my realm of expertise, less so of just like public knowledge and stuff like that. This is my realm of expertise right here. It's the fibs. I've been doing technical analysis for 9 years now, over 9 years. Whenever you hit the 1272 like this, typically what happens is you'll hit it and you'll come back down to the 786, 886 area. Maybe you go all the way to your golden ratio and then you recover and then you come up, right? When you do anything but that, if you bounce off the 886, that's bullish. If you bounce off the 100 level, that's bullish. If you can't even get to the 100 level and you're crowding the 1272 like this for months, that is anything but bearish. I'm telling you guys. Whoa. He was talking. I threw a little, and in my abuser, I threw a little water bottle cap at him. He just wouldn't shut up, man. Sometimes you gotta be like, dude, I'll get you in a second. I'm making a video, bro. Let's see here. Consolidating like this at the 1272. And you guys know I have these water bottle caps. I'm not making that up, right? Like literally, I've got one right there. I've got another water bottle right here. I've got an empty one right here. You don't even know, man. It's bad. The actually just on a whole different like side note, if I didn't have so much stuff, I've got like these water bottles around because this cove that I'm in echoes so loud. I found that if I have these water bottles around, it actually like absorbs the volume. I've created my own like insulated sound environment. It sounds messier than it is. It's actually like pretty tidy for the most part. But anyways, I don't even know what the point of that was. But I'm defending myself. Okay, I'm not a cat abuser. Okay, he just wouldn't shut up. So I didn't even hit him with a little plastic cap. I just threw it at him. I can already see the trolls in the comments. People giving me shit. It's okay though. He's a very loved cat, man. He's very spoiled and very well taken care of. Consolidating at the 1272 like this, very bullish, my friends. Very, very bullish, and likely you will continue to move higher because of it, right? I highly doubt, and with this very bullish circumstance, just looking at the charts like this, and on top of that, you have all these macro fundamental economic things that are postured well to happen in the very near future. It just takes one thing, man. Powell starts dropping interest rates, right? Big beautiful bill comes out. I know a lot of people are against that, but if you're in crypto, it's going to pump your bags. Whether you like it or not, it's going to pump your bags. Israel and Iran, tensions are high. We all know that there's going to be a ceasefire at some point. It's probably going to happen sooner than later. Maybe it goes on for a month or two, but there will be a ceasefire that happens. Trump, there's so many things going on with crypto that are beneficial that the Trump administration is doing right now. They're very, very crypto friendly, and they're making some regulations and rules that'll only be friendly and geared toward the prosperity of crypto for the average American and probably the average citizen, right? Regulatory clarity around the world will be provided once the United States sets the stage. Here's a thing that people aren't considering, right? That Trump said he would do in the what was it, 2024 Bitcoin conference, whenever he was talking about firing Gary Gensler and all that kind of stuff, which, by the way, we did fire Gary Gensler. SEC is talking about XRP being a U.S. cash asset. Like, the world's different now. Crypto's really bullish. There's going to be more things that come on, and one of the big things that I think is going to I do think Trump is strategic, whether you like him or not. Again, it's not about that. I'm just saying, whether you like him or not, he's strategic. There's something that he said that I think he's saving for when the markets are in like full effect to just add to the pandemonium and just let it rip even harder, is no capital gains tax on American-made crypto projects. Imagine that. Imagine we're in peak alt season, peak Bitcoin season. It's that finale phase of the bull market. And Trump, he said that he was going to do that. He didn't do it in the first 6 months of his administration. That doesn't mean he's not going to do it. I think it's a strategic play, and I think there are other strategic plays, good news events that are going to come out in correspondence with the price going up that'll help drive this thing higher. I just don't see us stopping here. Maybe momentarily, but I really do expect that we will continue upwards. We will see the 2272 as we have every other cycle except for the last one where we had all this negative stuff going on. And how do we know we had negative stuff? Beyond just looking back in the history books, double top. We've never seen a double top before in history. We've never seen a more constructive cycle before. There's no scenario that I see where we stop anything less than 462 to 500,000. We might even go up higher. Who knows, man? Like, it's going to happen. I'm very confident in that. And then here's another thing too. We're not even done. We got more. Okay. Monthly RSI. You look at the monthly RSI here, and you see this trend line, right? We have interacted with this trend line every single cycle, except for this one. Except for this cycle, where we have a pro-crypto administration in the White House, where we have institutions buying like never before, companies adding to their balance sheets, countries adding to their crypto stockpiles. Never before have we seen this, right? Inflation is at lows. All those other fundamental economic things that I talked about are here, right? That we didn't have last cycle. And last cycle, we still hit this trend line. We haven't hit it yet. You might look at this and think, oh, but this is bearish. No. This is bullish. This is actually an absurdly bullish monthly RSI, and last month we closed into the overbought zone. Typically, when you get into the overbought zone, that expresses months of prosperity in a row to come. We're about to see the finale phase of the bull market, and here's the kicker. Every single cycle, we've had two tops in the monthly RSI, two peaks here, one peak here, two peaks there. It was a lot lower, but again, if we came all the way up, and I think we were robbed last cycle, I think we were supposed to touch this, but we didn't. Oops. We had a double top instead of extending, right? And the reason why we had a double top, ding, 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 DXY, all the other stuff we talked about that I don't want to repeat that I've already said. We haven't touched this yet. Beyond all that, beyond just the RSI, there's the pi cycle indicator. There's the Bitcoin heat maps. There's retail. The retail investors haven't come in. We haven't seen the M2 money supply blow off. There's all these different indicators that normally, and like dozens more, or at least half a dozen more, that normally fire off when we're at, not normally, always fire off when we're at a cycle top. And they haven't done it, right? The RSI is something that I'm watching. When we interact with this line, the great thing about it is we're not going to hit it and then that's the end of the bear. That's the beginning of the bear market. No, we'll get two attempts. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We'll get two highs. That's going to happen. And here's something else that's cool that I noticed, right? You take this high here. I'm going to get rid of the trend line now because we don't need it. I've made the point. You take this trend line, you take this high here in the RSI, you put it to this high. That was 4 months apart. 4 months apart. So that means after the first peak, you know that you have at least another quarter of a year or more of bull market. Here, this one was 7 months apart. And then the interesting thing, whether it's a coincidence or not, is that they alternate 4, 7, 4. And you guessed it. What's this next one? From peak to peak, even though it's all the way down here, 7. Even if we get a low peak like that, we can at least still expect that there will be some kind of recovery. Even if we get a double top again, there will be some kind of recovery. We haven't hit it yet. When are we going to hit this trend line? That's the question. I thought we were going to hit it here in June, but we're not going to hit it in June. So we're likely going to hit it what, in July or August? Is that what's going to happen? October, November? Like, when are we going to hit it? And if we hit it, we're going to have 4, 7, 4, 7. If we alternate again, and who's to say that it's 4 months apart? Who's to say that we get 2 peaks and that they're 4 months apart? Maybe they're 2 months apart. Maybe there's just 1 peak. Maybe they're 8 months apart. I don't know. Nobody knows. But running with this idea, whenever we touch this area, which I would assume is going to be probably not by the end of this month. I don't know when. So what? Let's just say July or later. Let's say it happens in July, but I don't think it even happens in July. That would imply we have 4 more months of bull market. In 4 months, that would put us in November of this year. That goes against my thoughts that I've had for several years about the bull market ending in October. And it goes against it in a good way. This implies that the cycle will extend. I highly doubt that while no bull market indicators have flashed that we are at the end of the bull market, no cycle top indicators have flashed yet that we're at the top, I highly doubt that we're at the end of the bull market now. We have more to grow. And this one has a time frame. When we hit this line, which probably won't be by the end of this month, unless we rip to 200K, it might be in the end of July, maybe, unless July closes as a red month. Maybe it's August. And whatever it is, maybe we don't have 4 months. Maybe it's 3 months. Maybe it's 2 months. I don't know. But we'll at least have some time. And if we're going off of this standard, likely I'm wrong. We don't top off in October. We might top off in November or December. We might top off actually in sometime in 2026. And I think this illuminates that idea very, very well. $105,000 now. I don't care, man, if we go down to 95K. I don't care if we go below that. We're not done here. The bull market's more constructive than it's ever been. We're going to continue to grow, and we'll know we're at our end when a lot of these indicators that historically have always told us when the bull market is at its end, whenever they pop off. None of them are anywhere near that yet. We got a lot of growth to go, and the best thing is that there will be warnings months in advance before we actually start to move down, and in which none of those warnings are happening now. I very much believe with the bullish environment that we have on a macroeconomic basis that there's no chance in hell. I mean, other than unless hell gets released on Earth, man, unless we do go through World War III, unless some kind of nuclear catastrophe does happen, I don't see a scenario at all where we stop here at this golden ratio. And every cycle we've either stopped here that one time, or the other cycles we stopped at the 2272, just above there. And that's where I think we're going, just above the 2272. Maybe we even go higher. We're more constructive this cycle than we've been. Maybe we go higher. Maybe we see something more powerful than anything else. I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves, all right? Bye-bye.